Let's talk about my UFL awards. So, start with MVP on this one and Offensive Player of the Year. For me, it's Birmingham Stallions quarterback Adrian Martinez, who didn't start the season as a starter, but still won the UFL rushing championship. Hello. And was one of the 3 best passers in this league. I think if you give him all of those games to start, he joins Luis Perez as one of just 2 guys that would have thrown for 2,000 yards in this league and probably be the first guy to throw for 2,000 and rush for 500-600, right? Given some time in this league. He's also showed tremendous growth. This is a guy at Nebraska and Kansas State, for that matter, who just couldn't always be trusted to throw the football down the field. And Skip Holtz and Philip Montgomery have done so much work to help that guy see the field the way he needs to see it. And they trust him. And anybody that's met Adrian Martinez knows that he is a stately man, right? A classic man, if you will. I trust him to understand what the circumstances are. You want him to be fronting your franchise. And now his play is reaching the level of his maturity. And that's really thrilling for me to see. He's going to have an opportunity to make an NFL training camp. I mean, hell, he did last year. He was playing for the Detroit Lions, and they were lucky to get him at Birmingham. I realized that in the USFL, they split the MVP and the Offensive Player of the Year. Seems fair. Like last year, Alex Magoo was the MVP, but Mark Thompson was the Offensive Player of the Year. I don't believe in that. I think that if you are the best player on the offense, then you are the MVP and the MVP, then you should get both trophies. I just think that that's fair. If they decide that they want to split this up, it would not shock me to see that a guy like Hakeem Butler ends up being an Offensive Player of the Year while Adrian Martinez is the MVP. But it would be shocking to find out that Adrian Martinez doesn't win the MVP. Defensive Player of the Year, I think, is a little bit more of a race here. And I'm picking Breeland Speaks because Breeland leads the league in sacks. He's really great with tackles for loss. And more than that, you watch the Panthers play. He plays all over the defensive line. He can play defensive tackle. He can play defensive end with his hand on the ground. He can stand up and go after people. He's got a tremendous motor. He's running people down from behind. And I think that the defense totally shifts if he isn't on the field for the Panthers for most of the year. He's coming off a second straight outstanding year for the Panthers and trying to win their first playoff game if they can. The other guys that I think could be up for this, Jordan Mosley, who leads the league in tackling, and then Kai Nakua, who's been outstanding as just a ball hawk free safety. Like, he understands the game, the way that he reads, run, goes to pass, and then has 3 interceptions tied for the league. I can understand him getting votes, but I really think that this is a pass rusher award. Chris Odom won this award in 2022 for starters, right, in the USFL. And I think, last year was a pass rusher too. So it's really difficult for a defensive back to win this award, let alone a linebacker, even though I think Donald Payne probably should have won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2022 because he had more than 100 tackles in 10 games. Didn't play to those standards this year, but you understand my point here. I think that Breeland Speaks is the best player for this award, and I think it also is the player they want to give the award to. Special Teams Player of the Year. Surprise, surprise. Panthers kicker Jake Bates. It's not a surprise, right? I'm not surprised. Nate Diaz. When you hit not just 1, but 2 kicks from 62, 64 yards, you're gonna turn some eyes, right? That's 2 yards off the NFL record in the same stadium where Justin Tucker set that record at Ford Field, right, where the Detroit Lions play. But this is a guy that came out of nowhere to be dominant, right? And to really get our attention. Like, I had him ranked in the MVP conversation because I thought he was that important to what the Panthers could or couldn't do. And you could see that. Like, he was the difference between them winning and losing the regular season title to the Birmingham Stallions. He makes that kick. You're talking about a guy that still is in the MVP conversation and is locked for Special Teams Player of the Year. As it is, Andre Schmidt might nudge him out of this, but that would be because he made more field goals than Jake Bates and because he also hit from 60. Not for nothing, Cole Murphy hit from 60 a couple years ago. We've also seen outstanding kickers make it in the NFL, like Brandon Aubrey, who famously goes from the Birmingham Stallions to the Dallas Cowboys to kicking for them to Special Teams Rookie of the Year to NFL All-Pro, right? All in the same year. So there's some legacy that Jake Bates is learning or living up to as well. I also think it's important to note that this guy was not brought in to kick field goals. He was brought in to kick it deep, because this is a league where you kick off from the 10-yard line, and the kick returner was expected to be a bigger deal, as he was in the 2020 USFL when the MVP was Cavante Turpin, who's also made a name for himself the year before playing kick return for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Special teams is a really great way to not just make a name for yourself in the professional spring football, but to make an NFL roster and then win postseason awards in the NFL. Remember that Cavante Turpin was a first-team All-Pro for the Dallas Cowboys, according to the players, the guys he played against. That's outstanding. I think Jake Bates is going to be able to have a similar career. He just got to get a shot at a training camp, and he's going to get one. And then Coach of the Year, Skip Holtz. I am floored by just what he has accomplished in 3 seasons as a professional football coach. This is a man who got started coaching ball in 1987. So he's been coaching ball for 36 years. He got his first head coaching job at UConn in 1994. He went to La Tech as his last college football post, had a losing season in 2013, and then reeled off 6 straight without a losing season, 5 straight appearances, 5 straight bowl victories, 6 straight appearances in bowl games, had a losing season, got fired in 2021, got this opportunity to coach in the USFL, now the UFL, and held on to it with both hands and for dear life. He has turned that into 2 championships, 3 regular season titles, and a 30-4 record as a professional head coach in a league where turnover is the rule. You're going to lose players. You're going to lose coaches. It is you who has to hold the whole damn thing together year to year. And Skip Holtz has learned to do that. And oh, by the way, was able to do that while serving as consultant, as the lawyers call it, what I call coaching at Northwestern. In a year where Northwestern was dead in the water, hazing scandal, Pat Fitzgerald, not just a long-time head coach, but one of the best players that they'd ever produced at Northwestern, he's relieved of his duties. David Braun is made the head coach. He'd never been a head coach before. He was just hired January last year to be the defense coordinator. And who does he call? Skip Holtz. Please help me. Help me do this job that I didn't know that I was doing, that I don't know how to do. And Skip did what he expects all of his players and coaches to do. He was hands to serve. He was supposed to go over to Europe with his wife to have the first fall off he's had in damn near 40 years. And no, he moved to Evanston, Illinois to help David Braun put that football program back on its feet, and they go 8-5. They win 4 straight. The next loss they have will be their first in the last 5 games. And he was thrilled to do it. All while coming back to this league, which is new, which got better, which got more talented, and puts together a 9-1 season. He's coached football basically for the last year straight. So he probably needs to take this fall off. But I think it would shock me to find out that he is not Coach of the Year in 2024. I'm floored by what he's been able to do, and I'm really thrilled for Birmingham. It is a city that I've got to know very well. I haven't spent a lot of time there. They love this team. They deserve a winner, and it's been great to see professional football thrive there.
If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.